on the horizon, we have an interview with Smooth Martel, and he has deep connections with DMX, and he wants to use his lyrics to help the people and in prayer. His grandmother wanted him to be a preacher. His mother wrote poems, and he did too, and his dad was a DJ.
Coming up, I saw my mother writing poetry when I was younger. I saw my dad DJing my whole existence. He was a DJ, so I learned oldies through him, and I started writing poetry because I saw my mom writing poetry. And then as far as hip hop, I had an older brother, much older than me, and he introduced me to hip hop. And actually my earliest hip hop moment, or just music moment, I fell in love with Michael Jackson. I would watch Moonwalker every day and mimic his dances in the music videos, and I would watch it every day. And when I fell in love with music also is when I first heard Digital Underground, I Get Around. I remember I was in a bunk bed, I was real young, and it's just the feeling. Just like when you know you love someone, that's the feeling when I knew I loved music. So that's pretty much that. And my grandmother and my mother both, when I was like 3, they told me they thought that I would grow up to be a preacher.
Now, what inspires Smooth Martel's music, and how has God impacted his life? We're going to take a look at some of these questions in our interview coming up.
So what influences my music? I'm inspired by everyone who ever touched the microphone. Tupac, Jay-Z, DMX, Nas, Kanye West. Man, I can name everybody. R. Kelly. I know we're not supposed to like him, but I'm a big fan of his music. Marvin Gaye, Maxwell, D'Angelo, Aaliyah, but I keep going. I pull from everywhere and everything, but I know how to be inspired by someone or something without trying to be like it. You know what I'm saying? I could be inspired by DMX and not try to sound like DMX or be like DMX. I know that I'm Martel Smooth. I'm the first Martel Smooth. But Martel Smooth also grew up watching Michael Jackson, Tupac, DMX, Jay-Z, Nas. So I'm cut from the cloth of that because that's what I grew up on. Marvin Gaye, it's stuff beyond my era, but that's the stuff I like. Okay, so God has always been my source. I've always been extremely close to God and been very spiritual. I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual. I've been that way since a kid. I just haven't always been as vocal about it. But, that's just me. And what a lot of people don't realize is, just like I put years into mastering my craft and music and acting and things like that, I've also put that same amount of time into mastering the word of God and, really getting into the word. I watch different pastors. It's not always about the messenger, it's about the message. You got to eat the meat and leave the bones. And that's what I do. I eat what applies to me, and what don't apply to me, I don't tell nobody how to do their thing. That's just what I'm into. And God is the source. I mean, my music comes out of nowhere. Like, sometimes I don't even need to write it. I'm not freestyling. I write it in my mind, or I write it on a notebook. But it comes out of nowhere. It's God. You know what I'm saying? And what inspires me? Everybody who ever touched a microphone. I definitely have a deep connection to DMX, just like rest of the world. He touched the world and the human beings in the world in a special way. And I'm a human being in the world. And, DMX, as far as DMX, I remember watching him on Backstage, the big concert with Jay-Z, DMX, Method Man, and Redman. I watched that every day. Me and my cousin would watch that every day for years. That's what actually influenced us. That was, a big part of our influence was Jay-Z and DMX. And that DVD still got it to this day. And he always was close to God. And that's what I really admired about him the most. To me, he's just the realest MC of all time. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And I got an EP called Prayer Warriors. It's a gospel EP. I made it 7 years ago, but because DMX just passed, it prompted me to actually put it out.